Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to Ladies with Tradies, how to stop shit hitting the fan in love, life, and business. It's a great Arvo here this end of July, and I've got the absolutely awesome Mick Bloomfield here from Traralgon, who runs MIB Plumbing. And I said to Mick, we're going to call this Beers with Mick. Let's just have a chat and make it cash and ask you some questions about your plumbing business. So really thrilled to have you, Mick. How you going?
I'm good, Kate, and I'm happy to be here.
It's a Friday Arvo for us here that we're doing this recording. So I did prompt Mick to make sure he cracked a Carlton draft before he got on. So we'll just have, I'm really interested, and everybody will be interested too, Mick, to hear about your story. So tell us a bit about your pathway to becoming a plumber and now a business owner.
Yep. So pretty much I started off as a printer. So I actually did work experience when I was 15 at the gas and fuel as, training to be a plumber. Loved it. And then we went through a recession where no one was hiring apprentices. And therefore ended up on the dole for 9 months, which for someone that likes being active and whatever just didn't suit me very well at all.
I can't imagine it, mate. Jeez.
No, so I was bored as batshit, and I fell into an apprenticeship being a printer, which the first day I walked in there, I went, I can't do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So the first day there, I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this forever. So I took a big risk and quit my job and went and did a bit of labouring for a couple of weeks, and I ended up falling on my feet and doing a bit of labouring for a plumber, and ended up getting not an adult apprenticeship at 27 or 26 I was, something like that, but I actually did a normal apprenticeship. So I started on $8 an hour at 26 years of age with a mortgage and everything, and there was some hard times there, believe me, financially. But if you really want to do something, you do it, don't you? So you just stick to your guns and you get it done.
100%. So what was the journey or the pathway from that point to running your own business, Mick?
Yeah, so I worked for a local contractor here for, 6 years, so 2 years after my apprenticeship. And then he said, look, he was downsizing a whisker. We did a lot of commercial and residential. And so I went and I was out of work for one day, and then picked up a job with another commercial mob around here, which I didn't really enjoy my time that much there, and went and worked for another bloke that I knew around town here, and I loved it, but then he sort of ran out of work a bit. So then I started subbing. And I loved subbing, absolutely loved it. And it was very daunting at the start because there's no real handbook on how to subby and what you should allow for. But I started subbing and did that for a couple of years and loved it. And I think that was the natural progression to starting a business, because I think it's very difficult to go from an employee to start to run your own business. It's a massive jump. So to go from a full-time employee to being a subcontractor, you sort of get your bookwork in a little bit of order and a bit of process, and then all of a sudden you're going, you know what, I've got all my advance tickets here, let's have a crack,
Beautiful.
So, and that's how it evolved.
Awesome. And it is a bit of that natural progression for a lot of tradies to do the subby thing. And we certainly, any mates of mine over the years who have said, oh, I'm thinking about going out on my own, I'll go, righto, good plan. Just maybe go and do a bit of contracting first, so you haven't got the ass out of your pants. Like if there's no work, you can usually ring somebody, especially nowadays, to pick up a bit of work here and there contracting. So by that time, Mick, you're in your early to mid 30s.
So
you started your family.
Yep, I had by the time I was subbing, I was 34.
Yeah,
something like that. So yeah, I had Jay when I was 32 or 33. So I think I was subbing, say 34, 35 or something like that. And did it for a couple of years. And then, I went on to it. I got a job on an EBA job, roofing.
Yeah.
Which, did that for 9 months and hated it, because it's just the same work all the time.
Yeah.
And I was working with a few dingbats and And I was like, and I don't do things properly. I'm like, you sure you want it done like that? And then, nah, just hurry up and get it done. And I was like, yeah, this doesn't suit me. So
Not your style at all.
nah. You know, where I like to blow the swarf off a roof and whatever, they're like, nah, just leave it, just move on to your next flash. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's going to rust, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then no, just move on. And then all of a sudden, we spent 3 days later on with scourers trying to get rust off flashes. And I've said to them, yeah, I told you, you should have got this.
You're not doing it properly.
Yeah. And so I didn't really butt heads a bit there.
So you were so that point, so you'd gone into your subbing. So you mentioned you've had Jay by this point. What's your family situation sort of by the time you really got going?
Yeah, so I was still, when I was subbing, I still had Jay and Isla and married to Lala.
Yeah.
And then when I started the business, that was just I virtually started that because I'd finished subbing, had a knee op, and just sitting around home. And Lisa's dad rang me and said, "Oh, he's got a concrete business." He goes, "Hey, Bloom Dog, can you come and hook this storm water pipe up for him?" So, oh yeah, so I hobbled along, did that. And a bloke come past. He goes, "Hey mate, are you a plumber?" I said, "Yeah, mate. Yeah." "Oh, when you finish there, can you come up to my place and have a look?" "Yeah, all right, mate. No worries." And all of a sudden, that's how I started.
And it's, again, I always laugh because it's so common that you just fall into it. If you're a good tradie, you'll have no problems building a business, and it's as simple as that. If you're a good bloke and a good tradie, you're going to have no dramas. So it was a natural progression for you, and you sort of built up work and that kind of thing. Tell us, so you've got a bit of a team going now. What was the scariest part of starting a team?
At the very start, I was like, the body starts to creak a bit and whatever, and you're trying to, you work out you can't do it all by yourself now. So I sort of said to myself, oh, I had a subby here and there, and then that became a bit unreliable. I'm like, okay, let's put someone on, an apprentice. So the hardest thing is saying to yourself, holy cow, am I going to have enough work to generate? Because you take on their commitments as well. So if they've got a mortgage or a car loan or whatever, that you're providing income for that. So you've got a responsibility of meeting their requirements as well.
Yeah.
So I was quite daunted at the start with that. But it's funny how it all works out, and the work just keeps coming in. But then, so you've got that aspect, and then you've got to find the right person.
Yeah.
That you can trust and have the same, well, what would you call it, Kate?
Bit of work ethic or values?
Yeah, values. Yeah, your same values. So if you wouldn't put that on your property, then don't put it on someone else's property. And you want a top quality job. That's just the nuts and bolts of it is just get it bang on. And if you can't do that, you don't belong with us. So.
And I think for you, Mick, so you are one of the more meticulous plumbers getting around, and I know this through being, I've become mates with you over the last few years. We've worked together, and everything's got to be bang on, like you said. So recruiting people, when that's the personality type that you've got, how's that worked for you over the years? What have been the advantages, disadvantages, challenges?
I've had a number of subbies here and there, and I'm just, like even bringing an elbow out of the ground when I'm gluing it, I'll put a little level on it. So if it's level, then it comes out plumb.
Yep.
Not rocket science. And then the sea bloke's just going, she'll be right. And I go, wait, put a level on that, And, and then all of a sudden I see something coming out of the ground a bit crooked or something. You're right, this bloke doesn't belong with us anymore. So you move them on.
And you're kind of going, you move them on. For a lot of blokes who will be listening to this, they'll go, oh shit, like it's not that easy. Because like you said before, you put somebody in your business, you feel a bit responsible for them. And what I observe is a lot of blokes hold on to substandard tradies for too long. Can you talk to that?
Yeah, my first apprentice that I ever put on was an adult apprentice, so that they're on a little bit of a higher wage, which is okay. You expect them to pick the game up a bit quicker. As it turned out, this person could not pick the game up at all, which, they're on better money So that's just an aspect in itself. It's a pressure within itself.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, so it's difficult for me, like, you know, as a contractor, to say, okay, look, mate, I'm sorry, but you're not really able to use your hand skills and work out what I'm trying to teach you. And then this, you know, people will say, oh, gee, can you explain that to me again? Yeah, no worries. You can only explain it and show them the same way to bend a bit of copper 15 or 20 times and they still get it wrong. And you're like,
Before
look,
it
mate,
wears a bit
I
thin.
really don't think you're cut out for this, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not a nice feeling letting someone go.
Mm.
It really impacted me badly. Like, and I went down to the apprenticeship board at one point. I said, look, I'm not trying to impact this person's life in a horrible way.
Mm.
But this is what this person's done. And I documented a number of stuff. And even the apprenticeship board said, oh, geez, you got to let this bloke go, mate.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to affect his life in in a horrible manner. And then they were just like, no, this man just doesn't belong in your business. So.
And it's not going to work out. And so I guess, you know, it's one of those things, if you flex the muscle a few more times, because, you know, subsequently you've recruited and then terminated a few relationships over the time, and it seems weird to say this, Mick, but you've actually gotten quite good at it. If somebody's not working out, it's best for both people, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you can't tolerate mediocrity, and you know, every now and again someone has a mess up. You're just like, yeah, no worries. Look, there's plenty of times I've bucketed something up along the journey too. But if that's just how you are, and you just lapsy daisy and whatever, you just got to go. Listen, you're a nice bloke, but I'm sorry, mate, but you just don't belong with us, you know.
Yeah.
And before they get too entrenched and whatever, they can find another job, and everybody just moves on, you know.
I think the good thing, Mick, so let's let you know, one of your favourite things, the numbers, attaching it all back to that. So what would your thought process be around that? Because that you're very good nowadays at really interrogating the data or the numbers to make your decisions about recruiting or hiring, firing, who you're going to work for, who you're not going to work for. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. Look, I must say a lot of credit's got to go to Josie with that. I love her sessions because she's great with the maths and I really enjoy it. And look, she can bring something up on a spreadsheet for me and say, hey, Bloom, you know, look, you'll see this here, your profit margin on your materials is no problems and this and that. But this area here is a bit of a concern. And I straight away I can say, yeah, that's the labour content. Yeah, right. I've quoted those jobs. They're labour, no problems time-wise. Then I can go and see the boys and say, hey, look, what's going on here? And I addressed it once with the boys and they were fantastic. And I said, look, how long are you having for your lunch breaks? Well, sometimes we have an hour. And I said, oh, no. We always have half an hour and 15 minutes for smoko. And, you know, and they said, oh, yeah, sometimes we take too long. I said, well, how about we nip that in the bud? Because I said, Josie's spreadsheets don't lie, and I know, and that's why I pressed you on it because I know where it's happening, but I had to get it from the horse's mouth. And I wasn't, you know, we don't growl at them or whatever. Say, hey, look, I think we might adjust that, hey boys, and they're like, yeah, no worries, Bloom Dog. So it got sorted, but
and isn't it's an easier conversation, Mick? Another thing I've noticed is that because you do relate everything back to efficiency and profitability, these conversations are just pretty easy for you because the numbers don't lie.
Nah, but what I said to the boys was, and I did the maths on it, which I love doing, and I broke it down to, you know, per week, or the per hour per week, times that by 12 months of the year, it came in at 24 grand. And I pulled the boys aside and said, listen, boys, that $24,000 is almost another work ute there. So that little work ute that needs upgrading, by the time I trade that in and add 24 grand, there's another work ute. And they were like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. I said, well, there's the proof in the pudding right there. So
Mick, you haven't always been right across those things. What's been the impact of you knowing it now?
Well, I suppose, obviously, being associated with you guys, to be honest, because we've got better processes in place now. and I'm always process driven, but I just wasn't aware of different aspects that we could look into, and the guidance. And look, you say to me straight up, right, this is your goal for the next 2 weeks. You come back with an answer for me. So I do, whatever. I like the challenge, and it just snowballs from there, doesn't it?
It does. And I think the thing is, it is about, we might have the chats about what needs to be done, but implementation always relies on you. And so I guess, you are a good implementer. If you could sort of say, because I remember back to the start, and I think about, and we laugh, both of us, about the early days. And did you think that you could get to where you are now?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Remember when I first met you, and Lala said to me, "Oh, well, I'll tell you the story straight up. Try and be really quick with it." But I was in the office here, and what happens is we always had a decent business, but you pay your Reece's bill and all this and whatever, and all of a sudden there's nothing left. And I'm like, how can I be working this hard, paying your Reece's bill, and you're doing this, and you're paying everybody. You don't owe anybody any money, but there's nothing left for you, and you've been working 70-hour weeks. And Lala said to me, she goes, "Gee, Bloom Dog, maybe it's best you just go and get a job on wages or something." And I said, no, if I do that, you're killing my dream. My dream is to run my own little plumbing business. And then she must have thought I thought that I wasn't supported enough by her, and I wasn't insinuating that at all. It's just, you're killing my dream. My dream is to run this little plumbing business effectively and provide a good service, and people trust me, and you're telling me to go back on wages. And so she just happened to get on Facebook and come up with you guys, and she made some calls and whatever, and I ended up in Melbourne talking to you, and there you go, and the rest is history. So, but I must say that we went from at a point where you pay your Reece bill and whatever, and there's not much left in the bank, and you're like, oh my God, to now we pay our Reece bill, whatever, blah blah, and all the rest of it, and there are still thousands of dollars left in the bank to fund your next project and whatever. And look, and in that process, we've also bought what did we buy, Kate? An excavator, a water jetter, a factory,
and the whole setup for the jetter. It's not just a machine.
Yeah, and that's there's there's quite a bit of money tied up there. And we've also added 2 tradesmen, 2 work utes, an admin girl, all in the space of 2 years.
Couple of years, mate.
Yeah, a couple of years. But that's without that guidance. I couldn't have done it. It's not possible.
It's always, I think the thing for me is that it's always in new blokes, and you would now, where, having that hindsight, Mick, and you meeting blokes who might be in the position you were back then and who were thinking, oh, can I do it? Am I capable? Should I just go get a job? Am I providing for my family? I'm busting my ass here. Like, is it worth it? What would your advice be to them as far as, having the confidence to keep going?
Oh, look, I know myself, when I started my business, I wanted to offer, you're obviously a decent tradesman, for anyone out there, back yourself that you're a decent tradesman. Yeah. You're doing this for a reason. You've got something to offer, and you've got to back yourself, but you've got to have a bit of knowledge behind you. And I was lucky enough, I fell in the lap of you guys, but your skills aren't going to lie. Like, your skills are still there. So, and look, running a successful business all comes back to your planning and everything like that. Because if you provide a good product and all the rest of it, you're never going to run out of work.
Spot on.
The phone's going to keep ringing, as you've taught me.
It's funny, isn't it? That one's hilarious. It's a good one. It's the old. Oh, and one other thing you're brilliant at, Mick, which I'd love you to give everybody a bit of insight into, is saying no. So early days, you were a shocker. Couldn't say no wasn't part of your vocab.
Yep. So nowadays, I can we can pick and choose a little bit as to the work that we want to take on. And there's little tiny jobs where we go, look, I'd like to help you, but at the minute we're a bit too busy. So I'm sorry, you're going to have to try someone else. I'm never ever rude to anybody. I'm just like, look, I'm sorry, mate. I'll try this bloke. Like he's a good plumber. He's just starting out. He might be able to help you. And there's just other jobs that we just don't want to touch, or we can tell over the phone what I can tell over the phone. Okay, this person, I'm going to struggle getting money out of this person. Sorry, mate, I'm too busy. Without outright saying, no, I think you're a bit of a dingbat or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, mate, but we're a little bit busy. You might have to try someone else.
Yeah.
Diplomatic way of saying, please go away.
Yeah, absolutely. But you've gotten better and better. And that's the thing, like you just said before, if you're good at what you do, the work keeps coming. You're never going to run out of work. No.
And look, even to this date, Kate, we're getting calls now. For some reason, it just keeps evolving and growing. And I said to one of my boys the other day, I always like being at least half a tradie too busy.
Yeah.
So that you're not looking around, oh, I've got a wet table, what are we going to do, let's be half a tradesman too busy all the time. And they might think, we're always under the pump.
That's right. But we've also, you've also worked at, it's not, if I was to ask your fellas, I don't think they would ever say it's ridiculous and unattainable. It's more about, because you work again to the figures. You literally know, and that's what we love about you, is you go, nah, look, that day's going to run short for this many dollars, so we got to do this, or we're right as rain this week, so we don't need to work our bloody heads off. That we're all set. So you're running your business nowadays totally to the dollar.
Yeah. So it's funny because you call them KPIs, which I only just found out the other week. But and Josie and you have actually, you've worked out. So you give me a figure, right? Let me, you've got this, and this. You have to meet this figure every week. This is your break-even point. And this is, if you go above that, you're going well. You're no worries. And I'm like, oh, so I make it a game. I love it. And I'm like, oh, not. And then I divide it all up per day, and I've got to do this figure per day. And then, I want to hit this mark. That's my game. And I go, I might need X amount of $1,000 per week, but I want to do a bit better than that, so that if for a rainy day, the boys are standing around, we don't have to stress because the money's in the bank and we can just do a few things around home.
Because you know your numbers, mate. And
I'll just make it a game. I don't panic about KPIs. I just go, let's make this a game and let's enjoy it,
And that, I think that's
Wednesday.
Yep.
Elle might be going, oh, gee, we're not tracking too good this week. And then the phone starts ringing, the rain's coming down and the water jet is sitting there. All of a sudden, the phone starts ringing. No worries, we'll hit a few storm water blockages and all of a sudden I'm hitting my number. So
that golden number, Mick, and there's nothing better than a Mick Bloomfield message every now and then that goes, guess what, girls, this is what I did. And we smile our heads off because it is, you do make it a game. And especially the fellas who make the choice to know their numbers and actually, like you spoke of break even just then. Can you imagine yourself talking about break even 2.5, 3 years ago?
No. But that's
so
all
good.
It's just about learning, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the great
thing. You've got to embrace it. The reason I came and initially saw you guys is I've got a decent business, but you're not making enough money, Kate. And then you've helped teach me. And at the very start, I couldn't even turn a computer on. I was completely useless, And now, and you used to belt me over the head. But if there could be a cricket bat coming out of this screen, you'd belt me over the head with it. And I'd have a dent right in the middle of my head, but I embraced it. Eventually, I embraced it, and then the penny dropped. Oh, Kate's not actually having a go at me here. She's trying to get me to improve. So here I go, and I'll get a bit better at computers, and then and a great thing we did, we put Tradify. We bought, whatever you do, you get into this Tradify thing, and it is so good because even I can do it, and I am the biggest muppet when it comes to computers. So
yeah,
if I can do it,
I remember telling you the story of one of the other plumbers who you met, old Dave, who we called him the big sausage fingered plumber, who had got onto Tradify, and he was a bit of the inspiration, because he's a bit older than you for sure, Mick, and you met Dave in the flesh a few years ago, which was lovely. And it is the scary part of business is embracing the technology and embracing the change. Yeah, it is a scary thing, isn't it?
Especially if you're not familiar with it, I just love being out on the tools, and and I understand the regs and whatever, and being out, working out drains and all this, and all of a sudden you're introducing a computer to me, and I was like, no, I don't like computers, but you have to embrace it, otherwise you're going backwards. And you don't have to be the biggest guru sending emails out, whatever, as long as you can work your computer to what you need in your business, and then you get a bookkeeper in that helps you with that side, because we don't need to be good at that.
No.
We just need to be able to run a plumbing business effectively. And to do that, you just need to get a hold of this little system that we use.
Yep.
And it helps you. And it helps you with your quoting, and you see how much gross profit you might make. And then you think, and you can see it, because you go, well, I think what Kate was saying about putting my hourly rate up, I can see that now. I think we might need to adjust that. So instead of just saying, no, I'm not touching the hourly rate, we're going to be too dear or whatever. Well, just like you've taught me, bill yourself out for what you're worth. And I'll tell you a story there. I had a bloke approach me at basketball one night, and he was a builder, and he's going on, oh, you plumbers, you're too dear and whatever. And he goes, whatever. And I just looked him in the eye and I go, no one tells me what I'm worth, mate. And Lala was sitting next to me, and she started pissing herself laughing. And this bloke got up and walked away, and he looked at me like a meerkat first, he went, oh. And then he got up and walked away, and I just started pissing myself laughing as well. And you don't want to work for blokes like that anyway.
So Mick, it hasn't always been like that for you though, has it? Because now you really back yourself in and you value what you and your tradies and your business is worth. There's a lot of blokes out there who don't see the work, they've got low self-worth, or they're not feeling confident, or whatever it is that prevents them from doing that. So you haven't always felt that way.
Now, I'll be the first to admit that I was a person when I first started who lacked some self-esteem.
Yeah.
And with that, you lack confidence. So the minute, and I think the longer you're in the game, then all of a sudden you feel, oh, geez, I feel worthy of being a contractor by myself. And you do a few projects, and people give you some feedback, and they go, oh, look, I'm glad I got you, because you've done a really good job. And you think, well, yeah, I think I am worth my money that I'm billing out. And sometimes you're too cheap when you first start. And it's not about buying your way into the industry, but I think people lack confidence, and builders are trying to lowball you, and no, I'll give you this much to put a roof on. And I just look at them, I'm not doing it for that price. Ring someone else, mate. Because it's just not worth it. Why bust your bum and work hard, and you might earn very little, and then they're just putting their profit margin on top. So you actually got to build yourself out and be strong, and say, there might be a builder, and say, listen, mate, if you want us to continue, then this is the rate that I'm willing to work at. Oh, no, that's too dear. Oh, well, thanks for everything, but see you later. And then they'll go to someone that's less price, and they're going to have issues.
And that's always so much of the story I hear from some trades, and they'll have a chuckle. Remember that bloke I was telling you about, Kate, that he was trying to screw me down, and I told him to get stuffed. Well, he's back, and he's willing to pay now because I do a good job. I go, yeah, that'll always happen.
I've had that before, where people go and try someone else. Oh, this bloke's a bit cheap. Yeah, no worries, mate. Not a problem. Oh, can you do it for this price? No, I can't, mate. Oh, I just get that other bloke to do it. And then they ring me up. Oh, this bloke stuffed it up. Can you come and have a look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. So they've already paid this guy, and now they're paying me to come and fix his bugger up. It's like, well, why didn't you just get us in at the first point? And it's not right.
The joys, mate. The joys,
Yep.
eh?
The old story, you pay for what you get.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So, Mick, we've been chatting for a while now. Tell us, to sort of summarize here, if you were to give, what's one lesson or one thing that you would just love every tradie business owner to know?
I think you've got to back yourself.
Good.
And state, why did you get into the game? Like, why did you start your own business? Obviously, you've got a goal. You want to succeed for your family. Whatever your goal is, back yourself and see it through, but get the right advice to help you. That's because, and then, well, if you're contracting for yourself, you want to make a bit of cream on top and help your family and be secure. To do that, you got to get some right advice from someone.
Get a bit of put the right people around you.
Yep. Positive people around you, not negative people. And the sky's the limit for you.
Bloody beautiful, mate. Well, thanks so much, Mick. You've been an absolute delight as always. I'll let you have Sunday beers in the boardroom with Munga now because you've done this favour for me. So Monday you can be a bit sketchy if you need to be.
Yeah, I'll always have a beer at the board meeting.
That's fantastic. So much to gain from this chat we've just had, and I know that a lot of people are going to get a lot of they're going to feel better. They're going to feel inspired by your story, Mick. So cheers heaps for being here with us.
No problems. I'm happy to help, and hopefully we get a few decent plumbers and chippies and whatever, and go out on their own and make a difference and be successful.
Bloody beautiful. Cheers, mate. Take care.
You too, mate. Cheers.